Hey, thanks for stopping by for another episode of kev-tv. I thought of the idea, I knew the topic for today's post because of just something I'd been thinking about recently, but I wasn't sure whether to call it Young Punks, Old Farts or Old Farts, Young Punks. Because, I've seen the world from both sides of the coin. Anymore, I guess you'd say, over 50, at least to some, old fart. Now, I know, some of the AARP type things, 50 is the new 40, which is the new 30, which doesn't mean anything. And when you're in your 20s, anybody your parents' age is an old fart. Anybody your parents' age is over the hill. Reason I talk today about young punks and old farts is, I remember when I was a young punk. I remember when I was in my 20s and always frustrated that there was always some old guy, usually a guy, because, in a male-dominated world I worked in the broadcasting world, there was always some old guy getting in my way of progress. Move forward 30 years, and now you look at some kid who you see looking at you with disdain, knowing you're, in his way or her way. And it's funny when you can see it from both sides. I get it when you hit 50. I mean, what I always tell people is I what I do for a living, music business marketing, social media marketing, is a business that a lot of young people do, that people in their 20s and 30s do because they're computer savvy, they understand networking, but they don't understand life. And as I say, with me in this social media thing, you get the best of both worlds. You get somebody who understands technology, you get somebody who understands pop culture, who understands current events, who understands the current world we live in, and at the same time has 30 plus years of professional, managerial, music, media experience all in one package. Now, it depends on how you look at it. If you're a young person, you may just roll your eyes and go, yeah, whatever, Grandpa. And I think it's tough for me because never having kids, I don't relate to being an adult like parents relate to being an adult. Does that make sense? I mean, sure, I'm an adult. I've been an adult for a long, long time. But I don't look at life like a parent looks at life. I care about my nieces and nephews, everywhere from, almost a year to now, almost 12 at this point. And I'm sorry, except for my eldest nephew is 23 on my sister's side. So, I care about them. I care a lot about them. I care about their well-being. But I'm not their parent. It's not my job to care each and every day. So I know it's not the same. So I look at myself and say, self, 50, almost 2 years old, look what you bring to the table. You bring all that knowledge and understanding and experience to the table that a young person doesn't. But at the same time, because I've done things certain ways, because I've experienced things certain ways, because I have a history to look back at, I may not necessarily take a chance that a young person would take because they don't have the knowledge. They aren't smart enough to know they shouldn't do something, and they do it and they succeed. Young punks, old farts. I don't know when we crossed that barrier. I always told people my 40s were the greatest time. And really, from about 40 to 45 were just fantastic because you're not too old to be an old fart, and yet you're not too young to be disrespected. I started out running radio stations at a very young age, before I was 30. And a lot of times, people I worked with, business meetings I went to, they looked down at me. And you could tell they were looking down at me because I was younger. I don't know when that time happens. I don't know when that line crosses. But it happens sometimes in your late 40s, right around 50. I wish I had an answer. I wish I knew what to say. It is what it is. Think about the old farts. Now, there are some old farts. That's another discussion for another time. Back with another episode of Kev TV here at kevinmason.tv. Hope to see you soon.